Today we're going to learn how to draw and shade a portrait. And if you want to do a self-portrait or draw a picture that looks like you maybe want to find a picture that you like and look at that while you're drawing, or you can look in the mirror. If you don't want to draw yourself but would rather draw a portrait of someone else or just a generic portrait, that would be okay too. So the first thing you're going to need is your drawing pencils, and hopefully by now you've gotten your art kits, and you will have a selection of pencils to choose from. And the hardest pencil, that's actually watercolor, the hardest pencil, that means that you'll have a lighter line, is the HB in my selection, and in yours there'll probably be some pencil with an H also, and it gives a lighter line. And then the 2Bs are darker, the 4B's darker than the 2B. The 7H is going to be very hard and light. So for example, and you can do this along with me, go to the back of the page or to a scrap page and just practice drawing some circles. And so it takes a good bit of effort with a 7H, which is very hard, to even get the line to show. But just as a warm-up, take some different hardnesses or softnesses. Like that one's very easy to get a dark line, a 4B. That one also is, that's an 8B, that creates a dark line. Your regular drawing pencil, that is usually a 2, this says HB2. It's just going to give you what you're used to, which is a medium dark circle. And when we're sketching, we hold our pencil up on the wood part or the shaft of the pencil. Somebody's going to ask if they can use a mechanical pencil. Yes, you may use a mechanical pencil. Those are usually a 2, number 2. And you're going to be able to create your shapes this way. Try drawing a bigger circle or an oval. Just do a few like that. Try doing some longer ovals. Try doing some curved lines and straight lines just for a warm-up. Okay, so go to a clean sheet of paper now and get your pencil of choice in your hand. I'm not going to tell you if you want to use a hard one or a soft one. You get to make that decision. And in your portrait, we're going to try to create the illusion of depth, or 3 dimensions. And so first we're going to work with the art element shape. And so the shape I want you to create is going to fill most of the middle space of your paper. And it's going to be an oval. So lightly draw an oval on your paper. Notice how I'm picking up my pencil a good bit. And once you're happy with your oval, you can make any sort of corrections to your lines if you need to. But don't worry if you see some sketchy lines, because eventually those will just blend in and go away. The way the human head is made is you have your skull at the top, and your forehead takes up a large portion of the top of the face. So just lightly draw a line across the middle of your oval, and lightly draw a line down the vertical center of your oval so that you have 4 parts here. You know that you have 2 eyes, 1 nose with 2 nostrils, and a mouth with 2 lips, and 2 ears. So we're going to add all of those things on this portrait. It's going to look like your eyes are down low. I have students tell me that all the time. But really your eyes are in the center of your head. So we're going to go to the center line to about the middle of it, and we're going to draw another shape that looks kind of like an oval, but it's a little more pointy on the ends. Not too pointy, but a little bit pointy. And let's go ahead and draw the other one. You want to try to match them. So notice if you have like a finger width of space between this side of your eye, do the same thing for the other eye. Leave about a finger width of space. And you're going to be looking at this one to see if you're matching the other one pretty well. You can always make changes as you go if you feel that something needs to be fixed. All right, so that one I think needs to be a little bit longer. You have a tear duct on the inside corner that you can draw. It would be just a little circular shape. And now let's go to the colored part of the eye, known as the iris. And you're going to draw a circle. It can be slightly cut off at the top because your eyelid covers over that part of your eye, making you look just like you have a normal expression on your face, not surprised or anything. If you were surprised, your eyes would be wide open, but we're going to do one just normal facial expression. And then inside of those circles, clean it up a little if you need to, we're going to draw another circle called the pupil. Okay, and look and see if you're matching. Okay, so I'm kind of analyzing. I think this one looks wider at the bottom, so I'm just going to change that a little bit. All right, you have an eyelid above that shape. So put in your top eyelid. And then you have a smaller one down below, just very light because you don't want it to look like you have bags under your eyes. And you have an eyebrow. So the eyebrow is going to be about a finger width above the eye this way. So if you put your finger down that way. And it's just a little series of short lines to show that you have an eyebrow with hair in it. Try to get those evenly spaced and the same size. Some people have lighter eyebrows and some have darker, so you get to decide. If you want them lighter, you can always go back and draw with your eraser to lighten them up a little. If you want them darker, of course, put more pressure down to make it darker. Inside of your colored part of your eye, there's going to be some lines coming out. We are going to be adding color to this, so we're not going to darken this a lot. But there's usually a little series of lines coming out from the pupil, like this. So you can add those. Inside the pupil, there's almost always a highlight. So I'm going to darken in the pupil except for the highlight. And you want the light reflection to be the same in each pupil. So what you do on one side, you're going to do on the other. And the pupil is always black, so you can color that in pretty dark with your pencil. Now, if we color these later, you're going to choose either blue, brown, green, hazel, or whatever color eyes you would like to have, and you can go back in and color those, and you can do shading with colored pencils as well, which I will show you later. Okay, so the nose is going to be 2 finger widths. The base of the nose is going to come down 2 finger widths. So just sketch in the bottom of the nose, and you want to get it even. So right now, just look for evenness on both sides of this light line that we drew. These light lines that go across will go away later. And once you feel good about where you've placed that, we're going to make the nostrils. Okay, so those are just little sideways ovals. And then coming up from there, excuse me, you're going to draw the other part of the nose. Your nose is made of cartilage, and so there is a bone down the center, and we want to create a shadow on the sides of the nose and get it even on both sides. So I like the left side better than the right, so I'm going to try to make them both look the same. You can color in the nostrils. And you can either widen the nose or make it narrow, whichever way you want it. People have varying kinds of noses, some small, some large. So that's up to you, but basically that's how you place the nose. Sometimes when you turn your drawing around, you can see where corrections need to be made, like right here. Again, this is not the same as the other side, so I tried to fix that just now. To get them the same. Okay, and this shadow can be softened by blending with your finger, or you can also soften it a little with your eraser. And then for the mouth, you're going to come down 1 finger width. Okay, and we're going to, again, mirror image from side to side. Some mouths are big, some mouths are large, but the corners of the mouth will end straight underneath the pupil. So if you just make an imaginary line down from the pupil, that's where you're going to stop the corners of your mouth. Okay, and then the bottom line will curve down and come up and touch the other side, and then you're going to want to put a soft line in the middle, not a straight one, but a curved, slightly curved in the middle. And then you can look and see, is that the shape that I want? And of course we want to line up the center of the lips with the center of the nose too. So you can work on getting that straightened out. And when you first draw them, you know, you may not think it looks like who you're trying to draw. You can always go back and change the shape. The upper lip, you're going to use, see how I've got my hand way up on the pencil? You're going to use a very light touch to shade in the top lip, while the bottom lip is going to be in highlight, just because of the way the light strikes the face, usually from above. So go ahead and lightly shade there. And again, we're going to color this, so the shading that you're doing with your pencil is just very minimal. So I'm actually going to lighten that up a good bit. And then clean up your lines. Okay, so now that we have the facial features, eyes, nose, and mouth, and eyebrows, just lightly drawn, we're going to add the ears, and then we'll talk about the hair. Okay, so the ear is going to come up, and the top of the ear is even with the top of the eyelid. Curve it in. It's almost like you're drawing a question mark, but it's a soft curve. The earlobe, or the bottom part of your ear, like where people get it pierced, that part is going to be even with the bottom of the nose. So those are your sort of measurements just by sight. And then inside the ear, you're going to create little details or little creases. And then that inside part will be shaded, but of course, since we're using colors, we'll do a lot more shading with our colored pencils later. But that's a basic ear. You want another ear, so you're going to trace over from that one in an imaginary line, and you're going to draw that one. Some people find the left ear to be harder to draw because you just drew the other one the opposite direction, and so now you're having to think backwards, but it's not too terribly bad. Okay, so your ears are also made out of cartilage, and you want to use curved lines that are kind of soft right now. No harsh lines. This ear is shorter, so if you did something like that, just feel free to correct it, erase as you go. And then you can look and see which ear looks best. Try to make both of them look like the best ear. Okay, and we can still make changes. This earlobe is, we can still make changes before we color our picture. Okay, I feel like my ears are getting close to being the same, but this one still looks bigger and a little bit better. All right, so sometimes we just go back and forth making changes. Okay, so where the hair is going to be is, of course, on top of the head. and then you decide what shape. There's vastly different shapes of hair. So if you want bangs or no bangs, you decide. We took time to draw those ears, so let's not cover them up completely. I'm gonna put long hair on this one, but if you want short hair, you would just stop the hairline behind the ear, right under the ear. And you can just put in some basic lines for your hair. I'm not gonna color it in because I wanna use my colored pencils for that later. And then the other side, and the other side of hair might look different than the one side, depending on how you part your hair. Okay, so I'm just gonna let mine kind of trail off the bottom of the page, but you can do yours however you want. And as far as a neckline, you're gonna trace down from the bottom of your ear and do a curved line in. And I'm just gonna stop it there for now. There is some shading that we're gonna wanna do on the neck, underneath the chin. And this is just a basic beginning sketch with corrections that will need to be made. And like I said, we are going to color it. Okay, but that starts to give you an idea and it starts to look three-dimensional. Okay, we're gonna come back to this later and talk about how to get it to look more three-dimensional and to get it colored. Okay, thanks.